Everybody saying, we want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger. Make my yeah.
Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this Halloween, October 31st, the day after the Boston Red Sox delivered yet again another World Series title to the Fenway faithful, this time doing it on their home soil, which was extra special nice. Seeing them get to celebrate up there in Beantown in front of their fans in that Game 6 closeout of the World Series last night. So we will be getting full into that. As you can see, I am dressed up for Halloween in my Red Sox attire for the special show. Typically, we would be saying hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Roth Jr. right now. Coincidentally, curiously, it is his birthday today. Yes, Bob is a Halloween baby. That might explain a few things. And curiously enough, he's ill today, out sick. I don't know, Bob. Seems like maybe something funny going on here. But actually, he is dealing with some things and not really enjoying his birthday all that much. So we will wish him a happy birthday, and we'll say thank you for the presents he dropped off here. It was his birthday, yet Irish walked into the studio and there was presents, a new photo, and another one somewhere on the set behind me. So thank you, Bob, for that. Very nice of you to do, and I hope you get better, and we'll see you hopefully next week. So I will not be chatting it up with Bob. Maybe the listeners, the viewers out there would like to call in and talk. 203-792-4101 is the number. And the phone lines are open, so you can call in on this Halloween special World Series day after day and talk it up if you'd like. We will talk it up now. The Red Sox in really unbelievable season, unbelievable playoff run, unbelievable World Series run. They get it done with depth, balance, pitching, timely hitting, solid defense, and a big-time leader in Big Papi. And Dustin Pedroia right behind him, helping the guys along. So an unbelievable worst-to-first situation as the Red Sox collapsed 2 years ago. We all remember that. The September to forget, the September swoon, 2011. The beer and chicken and beer Red Sox led to Terry Francona, the manager of 2 World Series titles, heading out the door with Theo Epstein right behind him. And last year's Bobby Valentine fiasco team, finishing dead last, losing 90-plus games, an embarrassment. The sellout streak at Fenway Park, went by the wayside at the beginning of this year as the fans, basically said, you know what, you guys got a lot to prove after the last 2 years with the way things have been. We're not going to sell out the park right away. We're going to make you earn it, get us back here, and get us ready to go. And they did that as they started winning early on this season, and they kept winning. As Big Papi said last night, nobody stopped the train. They got that train going, and nobody stopped the train. And they got it going last night early as they got to Waka Waka Waka, and those Cardinals, the bats finally came alive against him. And Shane Victorino, one of the many Red Sox players who came in from elsewhere to redeem himself, while the core Red Sox who were on leftovers from the last 2 disappointing seasons, were also looking to redeem themselves. Victorino, how about this? His numbers in the postseason with the bases loaded, not just this year, but overall over his entire career, 6 for 8 all time, 2 grand slams, and 20 RBI. Victorino has when coming up to bat with the bases loaded in the postseason. Not too shabby for Shane Victorino. And he got it done last night with the 3-run double to give them the 3-run lead. It came up again later and drove in another run with the bases loaded. He was dropped after missing the last 2 games to the 6th spot, typically the second man in the lineup behind Ellsbury. He had been struggling a little bit and dealing with that bad back, and after missing 2 games and John Farrell liking what he saw out of Dustin Pedroia in the 2-hole and moving Big Papi up to the 3-hole, guaranteeing that he would be able to put pressure on the opposing pitcher in the first inning. He decided to keep those guys there and let Victorino come in and provide a little more dynamicism and balance later in the lineup in the 6-hole. And sure enough, that paid off well because he came up with the bases loaded twice and he delivered, got these guys going. They scored 6 runs in the third and fourth inning to really get themselves out in front and let this game turn into a bit of a celebration for the rest of the night. 6-love it was, went on to a 6-1 victory. There was some moments in the 7th inning when the Cardinals had the bases loaded and they had some big guys coming up, but they were able to get out of that jam. Lackey, who has been amazing, just unbelievable what this guy has done to redeem himself after nobody, not one single Red Sox fan would have liked to have seen this guy on the team starting this year. He missed all last season with Tommy John surgery. He was a big part of the collapse the year before. He was part of the whole chicken and beer fiasco, and everybody felt this signing was a bust. Get him out of here like they shipped out Beckett and Crawford and Gonzalez. Get him out of here with those guys, but they kept him, and he has been solid all year long, and he was huge in this postseason, outdueling Verlander in the Tigers series, outdueling Walker last night, pitching just spectacularly, even getting an inning of relief in the crucial Game 4 win to get them even after they fell behind 2-1 after that controversial obstruction call early in the series in Game 3 in St. Louis. Lackey was spectacular. He fought to stay in the game last night as Farrell came to take him out in the 7th. He left him in for one extra batter who he walked, so he wasn't able to get out of the inning. But Tazawa, Big T, comes in and he gets the ground out they need to quell that potential rally by the Cardinals that they were trying desperately to get themselves back in the game and continue this series into a Game 7, but it was not to be. The Red Sox had the answers in the bullpen. They had the answers in the starting rotation. They had the answers in the lineup. You know, the announcers kept talking about the low batting averages. Look at these team batting averages. Nobody's hitting except for Big Papi, who hit in the series up close to 700. He just came in about 688, I think it was. He finished. He was just unbelievable. Could not get him out. They finally started walking him last night and letting the other guys do it, and they did. But the thing nobody kept talking about with this batting averages was in a short series, you know, you can have a low batting average, but if you get one big timely hit in a game and help your team win one of those games out of 4 that you need, that's all you got to do in a short playoff series. And they had contributions up and down the lineup throughout the entire postseason run. Everybody did something. Yeah, they showed off their depth as Johnny Gomes supplanted Daniel Nava in outfield. His intangibles were enough to keep him in the lineup. And Nava, when he did get in the lineup, he did contribute as well. Middlebrook sat down and Xander Bogaerts came in, the young kid, 22-year-old. He played spectacularly in the field at third base and also crucially came up with some big walks, big hits in rallies that helped them win games throughout the playoffs. So their depth was on display. David Ross, backup catcher, he ended up catching the final 3 games of the series as Sultan Lamakia. He sat down after his blunder throwing the ball away in Game 4. So, you know, their depth was on display throughout. Their balance up and down the lineup, guys being able to step up and deliver big, huge shots. Johnny Gomes was in an 0-for-9 slump when he hit his 3-run homer in, Game 5. So, you know, just unbelievable what this guys did all year long. And it's funny, you hear after the World Series, the interviews, when did you guys know? When did you guys know? When did you guys know? And they all say spring training. And it's funny to hear that. You know, did they really know in spring training? Could they really feel there was something special going on here with this team that early? And from a fan perspective, I will say this much, because I was as down on this team as anybody. The offseason, the preseason, I didn't want to hear anything about the changes they made, the players they brought in. They brought in new players last year who had character, just like they brought in players this year. It didn't work out. They brought in a new manager last year, Bobby Valentine. That obviously didn't work out. They bring in John Farrell to try to right the ship and go back in their ways because he was part of the Red Sox with Terry Francona from 2007 to 2010. I didn't want to hear any of that. But when Game 1 of the season happened and they come out and they beat the Yankees in Yankee Stadium on opening day, I was right on board right from the jump. There was something a little bit different about the way this team played, and you could see it right from the start. So I did see something early, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm a diehard fan, and I just wasn't going to let the season go by the board. But I got right in, was enthusiastic about them right away, and they paid off with that because they kept things going, and they had everything working for them all season long. So now they join a long list of champions. 2004 was not the first World Series title for, you non-history buffs who think that the 86-year curse was a curse that had them never winning before. They were the team of the new century of the early 1900s, winning the first ever World Series title in 1903 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Back then, there was a best-of-9 series. Cy Young, the pitcher for the Red Sox, led the way to a 5-3 victory in that series. So, they won then. That was the first one. In 1912, they get their second title as Smokey Joe Wood led them. And get this, they won that series 4-3-1. And we have our ill friend, Mr. Bob Broad Jr., calling in. Let's see if we can get this to work. Hello, Bob. How are you doing?
Hey, Scott.
Are you calling in to congratulate me on my Red Sox, or are you calling to see if I wish you a happy birthday?
You got bad connection. I could just about hear you.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I'm getting surgery in about an hour.
Well, maybe it's all the medication they got you on. Well, we hope you're doing well in your sick bed there.
Yeah.
You keep racking up these birthdays. That's what happened when you get old, Bob. They put you in the hospital.
Yeah, I know. You fall apart.
So we don't want you falling apart on us. We need you to
Did you like your two presents?
They were spectacular. You see, I got one of them on fine display right here.
I'm still in the ER, so I can't see anything. So.
Yeah, I put one right up front. Well, I don't know where you got those, but they look fantastic.
I got them at the trunk on Sunday.
Oh, you did make it down to the trunk. Nice job by you. Nice job by you, Bobby.
Yep.
Well, we wish you were not in poor spirits here and down and out in the hospital for your birthday. We were looking forward to the holiday birthday special.
Yeah, I know.
What'd you think of my Red Sox?
Hey, they played a great game last night.
They took a lot of the pressure off.
Yep.
They got those runs early, so it didn't make it sweat it out. So
yeah, 95 years at home.
Yeah, first time winning on Fenway soil in Boston in front of the fans since 1918 was the last time they did it against the Cubbies in 1918.
Was that the curse of the babe?
And that began the curse of the Bambino after that 1918 victory. That was the last one for a long time, 86 years, but you know that story.
Right.
So I was happy to see them go back home and get this thing done on the field there in Fenway. And the place was rocking from start to finish last night.
Oh, yeah.
The fans were going nuts. So that was spectacular.
Yep. Finally had I'm glad they won. Other than two or three other players on the Cardinals, I have no idea who the rest of them are. So.
Yeah, you mean you don't know guys like DeScalvo and those type of players?
No, other than Beltran and Wainwright and some of the other ones, that's it.
Holiday, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Cardinals, hats off to them though, because they're just a team that finds a way to get it done.
Yep.
They're no slouches, and they put up a great effort. But the Red Sox had too much for them to deal with this time around. So now the Red Sox have evened their World Series series with the Cardinals 2-2.
Right.
After losing in the 40s and 60s to the Cardinals, the
Right.
Redbirds in 2004 and now 2013 couldn't get it done against the Red Sox.
Right. So my Giants finally got they got two straight wins.
And the Cowboys keep choking away games, Bob. So you all of a sudden find yourself 2 games out as you head to your bye week, and you got 3 games at home in a row after that: Oakland, Green Bay, and Dallas.
Yeah.
So things could get interesting here, even though you're pathetic at 2-6 and can't even score a touchdown to win a game.
I know, 5 field goals,
Against those hapless Eagles. What happened to that high-powered Chip Kelly offense?
Yeah.
They have looked horrible the last 2 weeks. They get Nick Foles back, so I guess maybe that's good news for them this week. I don't know. They don't look too good, the Eagles, right now. So the NFC East is quite a shambles. The Cowboys choked away the game the other night against the Lions on Sunday. That was just unbelievable the way they fell apart in that final drive.
What about the big choke with the Jets?
Wow, welcome to the jungle. The Bengals clawed them to pieces, really just demoralized them this past weekend, crushing them. That was ugly, to say the least, for the Jets. So they fall to 4-4, and they have New Orleans coming to town this weekend. So they could be looking at 4-5. They still have a favorable schedule down the stretch after this New Orleans game. And if you look at the wild card picture in the NFL, in the AFC, the Jets have an outside chance still to get maybe to 9 wins and shock everybody and get that sixth playoff spot, that second wild card. Because if you look at it, the Chargers are at 4-3, Jets are at 4-4, Dolphins.
Maybe they should start Mr. Sims more often.
Maybe. I don't know. I think they're pretty committed to Geno. But the Dolphins, Ravens, Titans, and Raiders are all at 3-4.
Right.
And the Bills, Browns at 3-5. So it's not like there's any great shakes going on there in the AFC. The Jets are still going to have a chance, even if they lose to the Saints this weekend.
Yeah. All right, Scott, I got to get off.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, and thanks for not being here, because now I get to look at Peter Green with the hockey mask pulling the Mike Myers deal behind the camera today, scaring me during the show. So I appreciate you allowing that to happen, Bob.
I know. Did you like my bowling pictures?
Which, they were a little bit too blurry for me to put up on the show. So let's get some shots that aren't so blurry. But yeah, it looked like you were having a good time bowling. Yeah. And maybe that's why you're having some problems. Who knows?
It wasn't that. It was just, my just having that stuff that happens,
That's what happens when you get old, Bob.
Yeah.
All right, well, get better. Let the doctors do their thing, and hopefully you get to enjoy your birthday this weekend.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk to you next week. All right, so Bobby Boy chiming in, as he does. He plays sick, that guy, Bob. He can call in even though he's about to be operated on. I don't know if the doctors authorized that phone call, but he got away with it. We will get to football again. Let me wrap this up. Red Sox history, 1912. They beat the New York baseball Giants. In 1915, they beat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1. In 1916, the Brooklyn Robins, a.k.a. Dodgers, they beat them 4-1. Babe Ruth pitched 13 shutout innings in Game 2, extra inning game. The Babe got it done for the Red Sox in that 1916 World Series, helping them go ahead and win that. He got 2 victories in that game in 1916. And in 1918, they beat the Cubbies. 9 runs were scored. They won the series 4-2. They only scored 9 runs in that series. No home runs were hit by either team in the series. And that World Series was played in late September, as the season was abruptly ended on September 1st due to World War I beginning. And then, of course, the curse happened, 86 years of infamy. They made a couple tricks, 46, 67, 75, and 86. Unable to get it done, losing 4 Game 7 heartbreakers. And then finally 2004, and then 2007, and now here we are, 2013. The Red Sox get it done. So their 8th title overall, 3rd of this century, first team to 3 this century. The Cardinals have 2. The San Francisco Giants have 2. The Red Sox have 3. So when they won in 2004, it was faith rewarded. I would say 2003 could be titled faith redeemed, as they redeemed themselves from the last 2 years and missing the playoffs the last 4 years, and they get it done. All right, let's talk some football. We got about 10 minutes left. We talked a little bit with Bob. The Giants did come up with a victory, kicking 5 field goals in that win over the Eagles this weekend. They moved to 2-6. They have the bye week. They get 3 games at home after that. Oakland, who has actually played well, so that game might be tougher than you think. Green Bay obviously playing pretty well. They're 5-2 right now in first place in their division in the NFC. And then the matchup with Dallas, who finds ways to lose week in, week out. They still sit atop their division at 4-4, but they could be distancing themselves. But they lost that last-minute game to the Broncos at home. Then they follow that up with a loss in Detroit this weekend. Really was unbelievable that they got that done, losing that game. So the Cowboys are not running away with things at all, and they're making it easy for the Giants to think they actually have a chance. We'll see what happens. The Eagles are at 3-5, but they've been terrible. The Skins 2-5, they've been terrible. So I don't know. It's anybody's guess who's going to win that division and how many wins it will take to win that division. Probably not that many. Let's move back to the AFC. We'll talk about the Patriots. They looked horrible in the first half against the Dolphins, but they got things going in a hurry in the third quarter of that game, rallying for the victory over the Finns. So they moved to 6-2, and they face off with the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. I will be in attendance at this game, looking very much forward to going to Gillette for my first ever trip to Gillette. I've been to Old Foxborough Stadium, but not to the new Razor, and I'm looking forward to getting up there to see them play the Steelers this weekend. A good rivalry game. They've had a long history of big games against the Steelers. The Steelers just lost out in Oakland this past weekend, so they fall to 2-5. They are desperately trying to keep their season alive. They're going to come in and play their typical tough defense and try to muck this game up. The Patriots will look to be a little bit more efficient on offense as they have Gronkowski now for the third straight week. He didn't do much in that game against the Finns, but we'll see if he can get a little bit more involved and Brady can get him going as they try to balance out their offense. Amendola has played. He played last week. He'll be playing again this week. So we'll see what happens with that. The Jets, we mentioned with Bob on the phone there, smacked down hard to the Bengals in the jungle out there in Cincinnati. And the Bengals are trying to distance themselves and put themselves in that elite category in the AFC. They are 6-2, right behind the Chiefs, of course, leading the way at 8-0. Broncos 7-1, Colts 5-2. So the Chiefs, Colts, Bengals, and Pats are your division leaders. Broncos 7-1 are actually a wild card. So the Bengals looking pretty good now. They've won some pretty tough games, and they look pretty sharp. So we'll see if the Bengals can continue to maybe excel here and show that they're going to be worthy of being in the conversation as maybe one of the teams to beat coming out of the AFC as we move into the second half of the season. Most teams have played 8 games now. Some have had a bye, only played 7, but we are entering that second half of the season now where teams will try to separate themselves from the pack, and other teams will try to fight for a wild card while others will desperately cling to life and keep their seasons going. But we'll see what happens. We kind of ran through it. Dolphins, Ravens, Titans, Raiders at 3-4 behind the Jets 4-4. Chargers 4-3 leading the way in that wild card battle. In the NFC, we mentioned the NFC least, not looking too pretty. Packers lead their division 5-2. Lions right behind them 5-3. Bears struggling. No Jay Cutler, out with injury. They are 4-3 after being 3-0, so they're not playing very well. Saints marching on, still 6-1. They look like maybe they could be one of the top elite teams in the NFC right now. Panthers, look out for Carolina. How about this? Panthers now with Cam Newton leading the way, above 500 for the first time this late in the season since he's been there. They are 4-3, so they are going to be in the mix for the wild card situation. And Seahawks, they clung to a close shave victory in St. Louis the other night against the Rams, had to hold on, make a goal line stand in the waning seconds of that game as the Rams could not punch it in, had multiple opportunities, first and goal from the 6. They were down at the 1-yard line, could not get it in. Seahawks hold on for a 14-10 win. They have not been that impressive on the road, which is their bugaboo. They're great at home, but 7-1. I continue to hear everybody say they are far and away the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in the NFL. I see chinks in their armor, and they do have injuries. Cindy Rice went down with injury. So I'm not sure that I'm completely sold. We know they play great defense, but they can struggle at times on offense, and they certainly struggle on the road. So if they don't get a home field advantage, that could be a problem come playoff time. 49ers have gotten their act together after their tough couple losses early in the year. They are now won 4 in a row, I believe, 6-2 overall. So they're right there. And Arizona is hanging around at 500. 4-4. So the wild card picture, Lions 5-3, Bears 4-3, Panthers 4-3, with the Cardinals 4-4, Eagles right behind them at 3-5. So some interesting things still to play out in the second half of the NFL season. We will see what goes on. I know our former evil director, Mr. Kevin Gallagher, is thrilled with his Kansas City Chiefs at 8-0, remain the only undefeated team. They've got 2 games coming up in the second half of the year with Denver, where we're going to be looking forward to that. We'll see if they can continue just defying all odds here. Everybody thought they would be improved, but I do not know that anybody thought they would be 8-0 and leading the way in the NFL and then certainly in the AFC. It's going to be yet to be proven if this offense can do enough in these games. Their defense has been spectacular. I keep hearing all this talk about how they haven't played anybody. The NFC least we know is terrible, so I wouldn't fault the Chiefs for having to play them and beat them. Maybe one of the reasons that these teams are down is because they got beat by teams like the Chiefs, who took care of business against 3 of those teams so far. They play who's on their schedule, and they get it done the way they got to get it done. So, you can't fault them for that. Their schedule should be a little tougher in the second half as they play the Broncos twice, and we'll see what happens there. Patriots have a lot of things to answer still with their offense. They get the Steelers this weekend, and they get a bye week the week after that, and then they'll get Shane Vereen back, and I think maybe at that point we'll see the offense as what it's meant to be, fully healthy. Vereen in the mix as the third down back and the back who catches passes out of the backfield. Bolden's been contributing, but he's not as good as Vereen. They'll have Ridley running the ball, and then we'll see Amendola now for a few straight weeks playing and hopefully being healthy for the second half. Gronk back healthy. So maybe the balance will finally show up on offense for this Patriots team, and we'll see if they can get things going on a more consistent level offensively, because they have been inconsistent for sure in the first half of this year. So we'll see how that plays out. Jets, as I mentioned, New Orleans this weekend, but a favorable second half schedule where they're going to have plenty of games that they can win and keep themselves alive. So it's going to be interesting in the second half. But again, hats off to the Red Sox. Obviously, I'm sitting here thrilled that they won their 3rd title after breaking the 86-year curse. Faith was rewarded, and now it is redeemed with the Red Sox bringing home the title last night in Fenway in a raucous crowd. The parade will be on Saturday. We'll be looking forward to that. I'm sure there'll be some extracurricular celebrations going on at Fox Ferrero that I'll be a part of on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. And we will talk all about it next week. Basketball and hockey underway as well, and we'll get into that when we come back next week. We'll see you then.